Deputy Ferris, I understand you're sharing time with Deputy Feehan. You have 10 minutes each.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Cathaoirleach. Cathaoirleach, I'm not an accountant. I don't own a business. But like most people, my life is very much affected by how other people run their businesses and how their accountants and auditors do their work. The behaviour and accountability of the people who audit large corporate organisations is as important as the content of the accounts themselves. It is important to customers, employers, competitors and indeed society at large that there is as much transparency as possible in the published audited accounts of large companies. I will give you an example of how things can go wrong. This week in my own constituency, Bray Town Council announced the suspension of the River Dargle Flood Defence Scheme, a €28 million project aimed at reducing the risk of flooding in Bray. It's an important project. In little over 100 years, there have been 4 very serious flooding events in Bray, resulting in 1 death from drowning and damage to thousands of homes and businesses. And as with most repeat flooding, there is a recognisable pattern to the Bray floods. The River Dargle floods every 20 to 35 years. The last time the Dargle flooded was in 1986 during Hurricane Charlie. That's 27 years ago. With the added effects of climate change and more intensive rainfall patterns, the odds of flooding in Bray either this winter or next winter are so tight that I wouldn't expect Paddy Power to accept a bet against it. The Dargle Flood Relief Project was programmed to be completed by last October just gone. As it stands, it is only 35% complete, and the contractor SIAC Construction is, as we speak, demobilising and leaving Bray. SIAC Construction at this moment is in examinership. This is one of the country's biggest construction companies with 550 employees and relationships with hundreds of other companies that act as suppliers and subcontractors at various sites around the country, including in Bray. People connected with SIAC are worried about jobs and debts owed. People in Bray are concerned about the risk of flooding on a project which will be delayed further by the need to appoint a new contractor. There are many questions being asked about the Bray project. One of the most significant of these is, was the current financial status of the company foreseeable at the time SIAC was awarded the Bray project? I do not doubt that SIAC provided audited accounts to Bray Town Council of a standard that gave the local authorities sufficient comfort to appoint them to the project. But I have to wonder if things might have been different had the accounts of SIAC been required to include a declaration with regard to potential future liabilities of the company. This is one improvement that the proposed Companies Bill 2013, when enacted, could achieve for the public good. I look forward to seeing that complex piece of legislation come to a conclusion in the near future. In the meantime, I welcome the initiative by the Minister to extract parts of the Companies Bill for the purpose of advancing them more rapidly in the legislation we have before us today. In particular, the proposal to amend the existing examinership provisions for small private companies. Examinership is a position that no company or employee or creditor wants to be in, but it does give companies an opportunity to save employment, unlike closure and liquidation. I am told that the law could result in a flood of applications to replicate the success of the home-based examinership, where that company used the process to restructure rents on premises. As someone struggling with a very high rent on my own constituency office, I have sympathy with anybody who seeks to use the law for that purpose. The bottom line is that companies and legislators need to do what is legally possible to safeguard jobs. I welcome this legislation, Minister, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for your continued support for us in Bray with the flood protection scheme. I think since the people of Bray have been campaigning since 1987, since the Hurricane Charlie, for funding, and successive governments refused to give us the money. But shortly after the general election, Minister, as you know, and with a little bit of lobbying for from the TDs, you secured the money, the funding for the Bray flood protection scheme, and I'd like to thank you for that. Thank you, Cathaoirleach. Yes.
That's the important thing.
That's good to hear.
Thank you, Deputy Ferris. Deputy Feehan.